Thanks, Philip, for that story. Now, agriculture tourism, or agritourism as it is defined most broadly, involves any agriculturally based operator or operation or activity that brings visitors to a farm or a ranch. Agritourism has different definitions in different parts of the world and sometimes refers specifically to farm stays, as in countries like Italy. But agritourism is also a form of niche tourism that is considered a growth industry in many parts of the world, including Australia, Canada, the United States of America, and the Philippines. People have become more interested in how their food is produced, and they want to meet farmers and processors and talk with them about what goes into food production. And for many people who visit farms, especially children, the visit marks the first time they see the source of their food, be it a dairy cow or an ear of corn growing in a field, or maybe an apple they can pick right off a tree. And farmers and ranchers use this interest to develop traffic at their farm or their ranch, and interest in the quality of their products as well as awareness of their products. And this is what attracts people to their farms that we are now calling agritourism or agriculture tourism. But now, to help us understand what this means on the Kenyan level or the local level here, we're now joined by Patrick Kamakia, who is the Managing Director for ASB and AST and S, right? Yes, thank you so much for joining us. It's such an honor having you in studio. So you have been practicing agriculture tourism for quite some time. How is it? Because it doesn't seem to be a popular venture for most Kenyans.
Thank you so much, Joy. I have been practicing this since 2002, and that is to say, over the years, we have seen several things change here and there, and more so going by the market trends. Yes.
All right. So you have been taking farmers from Kenya to go have some studies, you know, in farms outside of the African continent,
Yes.
Israel, I think, and
Yes.
Denmark as well.
Yes.
How has that experience been for the farmers themselves? Have they come back, learned lessons, and implemented them?
I would like to mention that we have been doing what we call incoming and outgoing tours, mainly in form of trade missions, whereby we have visited several countries, including the Netherlands, which has been like the best place for benchmarking. And in the Netherlands, we have managed to create links for our farmers or our agricultural producers, whereby it's not only for the farm produce, but also they have managed to get in touch with the suppliers of various farm machinery and equipment, and sustainable markets for their produce. So we have been dealing with countries which are a little bit more advanced in comparing with what we have in terms of agriculture, mainly in Europe. And it's this October that we are having a delegation of farmers from Kenya to Israel as a follow-up of the trip of the Prime Minister of Israel to Kenya. Yes.
All right, that sounds interesting. So on the local scale, are you having farmers that you are taking from one part of the country into another part of the country just to see exactly what's happening locally on different farms?
That's a good question, because just like we have domestic tourism, we have tourists, that is Kenyans, moving from Nairobi to Naivasha, from Naivasha to Mombasa. We also have farmers doing the same. We also organize what we call local domestic packages for farmers, whereby we try to look at sectors that are of essence to our farmers. For example, the dairy sector, which is quite advanced in the Rift Valley, especially in Kitale, and also in some other parts of the country. So we also get these farmers to visit one another so that at least they can compare and make some notes.
All right.
Yes.
There are quite a number of lessons that we can learn from, I guess, the Western world that is more developed when it comes to agriculture technology.
Yes.
But with our farmers locally here, from the different experiences that you have had locally and abroad, what do you think our farmers need to do to adopt more to agriculture tourism and agriculture technology per se?
I think a lot has happened. Like I said, when we were starting in 2002, and the only thing that our farmers have to do is to change with times. They have to acknowledge that the old traditional ways of doing business, because farming now is business. It's not a hobby anymore.
Yeah.
It's not only for farming for the family. It's a way of generating income. So it's a matter of acquiring the new technology, and that's what we are doing. We are acting as a link for them and the developed economies, whereby the farmer will be able to acquire what the rest of the world has acquired. For instance, in terms of irrigation, there are more effective ways of doing it, and that is something we have learned previously from Israel, and we will be doing that once again in October as a follow-up, so that at least whoever is interested in irrigation, they go for the most effective one, without a lot of wastage, but making sure that the minimum that they have, it goes into good use. And further to that, I would like to mention that last week we managed to visit a group in Murang'a County, that is in Kandara. We visited a group called Kieni Gadogo, or Irrigation Project, and one of the problems that they highlighted was that they're having a problem with the piping system for their crops, whereby they would like someone to hear their cry and come in to see how they can at least try to renovate what they have, to make sure that whatever they are doing, it goes by, it is done effectively with minimum wastage.
All right, so tell me something. They say that infrastructure as well complements agriculture. When you have good roads, people are able to send their produce all the way from the farm into the markets. But have we really seen this on the ground with the farmers that you're dealing with?
In fact, I would say that the biggest problem we have in several parts of Kenya is infrastructure, road per se. And that is to say that there's a lot of produce, especially in the dairy sector, that is going to waste because of infrastructure. There is some change in the past few years, but a lot still has to be done. Now that in terms of communication, the farmer is in a position to get what is happening in the market through SMSs, mobile and things like that. Roads are still something that need to be looked and addressed to.
All right.
Yes.
So there is the ADIC conference that is coming up in 2016,
yes.
And it's literally geared towards helping African countries as well develop more and have access to markets as well. Tell me about it.
There is a conference that is coming up in October that will take place in Zurich. That is on 20th and 21st of October. And this is from the organization that we are working closely with. It's called AFIDEP. AFIDEP is African Infrastructure Investment Development Partnership, whereby we have organized a convention that is going by the name of African Development Investment Convention, whereby we will be highlighting or enlightening what we in Africa are supposed to be doing for ourselves in terms of partnership with the best, or those who will be part of what we are doing, because we have moved from begging into generating and working together one with the other. And in this year's convention, because this is the second year we are doing that, we are going to highlight quite a number of things, because in this convention we are going to have a platform whereby Africans will be able to showcase what they do in their countries and prove that it's something that can be done. In fact, at this point in time, I would like to appeal to SMEs and other business people, including farmers this time around, that they are welcome on board, and they should get in touch with us so that at least we can start arranging for their participation, they enroll, and at the same time we see how we can organize modalities of their transport.
All right.
Yes.
Well, that's the best way to live it at with this conversation, but we wish you all the best with
Thank you so much.
your future ambitions.
Thank you
And
so
that
much.
is Patrick Kamakia, who is the Managing Director for ASTNS here in Kenya, dealing with agriculture tourism or agritourism. We'll now take a short break, but when we return, we're going to be talking about that infrastructure and transport summit, or transport and infrastructure summit, that happened this morning at State House, Nairobi. Journalists Moses Mashira and Paul Wafula are in studio. They're going to be having that conversation with us. Don't go too far.